Welcome to the Chill with Phil weekly podcast. Everything about e-commerce, digital marketing, growth hacking, strategies, and more. If you're passionate about these topics, you will definitely want to hang out with us the next hour. Now, here's your host, Phil Kyprianou.
Hey guys, this is Phil Kyprianou live for Chill with Phil. Everything about e-commerce, digital marketing, digital growth, strategies, and much more. If you're passionate like me, you want to hang out with me the next at least 30 minutes up to an hour, because we're going to talk about Shopify Unite Part 2, so Day 2. And this podcast is sponsored by MXO Agency. So if you're selling online or looking to start selling, MXO Agency offers a variety of services to help you bring your project to reality. From developing your store to increasing your sales from zero to multiple figures, MXO Agencies has the team and the expertise to take your dream to reality. So contact us now at mxo.agency. So yes, Day 2. So just before Day 2, we're gonna move to Day 1. Day 1 was totally already amazing with all this announcement. If you missed, basically, if you missed what I've recorded yesterday, you can find it on Shopify Unite 2019 recap of Day 1, and you will get all the information, the insights, basically about the first day, and basically the second day today was much more in depth about what we've seen yesterday, because there was a couple of workshops that was tied to the announcement. So this is where I've passed most of my time today in all the workshops that were there, and I will go through it. Yesterday, we finished the day with a wonderful party that Shopify hosted at the Rebel nightclub in Toronto. There was a special guest, the international rapper Lupe Fiasco, and we had a blast again, a great time to meet people live, to talk, to chat, to enjoy. I was really tired and a lot of stuff going on in my mind, because there was so much exciting stuff going on there that basically I went early to sleep so I could be ready to rock this morning with this great day. So the keynote started at 10 with Mr. Jean-Michel Lemieux, CTO of Shopify, and he started by talking about a couple of pillars on how Shopify is built, and what Shopify is doing basically to have a much more, let's say, open internet, much more secure stack, and how things are changing considering like the numbers of stuff they are processing in terms of numbers of events, the size of the data that they kept, the numbers of API now available, and how they can keep that updated as much as they can. So it continues to feel that things are evolving. There's an evolution going around instead of stagnating, if we can say that, basically. Has been a lot of investment also the past year to keep that up and running. So basically, they were talking about the open internet, their investment in W3C, because they want to get much more near, especially everything about the standards of the internet. You know, when everything started back then with Netscape, everything was all over the place. They started with the base to make things running, but they didn't envisage what was going in probably 10, 15, 20 years from then, because that was back in, 1993 or 1995. And basically things changed a lot. We can say that things changed a lot since then. So now, because Shopify is basically a very important player in the industry, they want to make sure that the W3C consortium hear their voice at the same time. So it's why they are investing there as well. He was comparing a lot of the evolution also as the evolution of the Silk Road back then, and how some people were trying also to put blocks. And which means that it's not an easy task to move forward, especially when you're growing at that pace. And there will be always some issues, but they're trying to put everything in place to let them move forward without too much problems there. He talked also about like challenges, because right now things are growing in terms of the media that you're using to put stuff on the internet. So, like videos has been a big issue since day one, because it was very big. So there was like strategy to compress, there's been like new type of files that emerge that was not available back then. I mean, back then you were recording in a certain format like a .mov, but now if you want to upload stuff on the internet, you upload that on an MP4. But there's going to be things like that, again, like new standards that will come at a certain point, because we want to make the internet faster, lighter, and especially when you think about the new progressive web app that are appearing, everything is cached almost directly on the device to make a better experience. And that's all about it. It's all about a better customer experience on their platform. So right now, one of the issues that they're going through, apart from videos, there's a good news about that, because now you will be able to upload any type of media that basically, I mean, what they change in the API is you are going to be able to upload any type of media that will make sense to the product. And they were starting with videos and 3D models, something that was not available before. You had to go through third party. Now, the network that you're using to distribute this media is the same network that YouTube use. Same thing for the CDN and all this kind of stuff. So, and I got that also confirmed by a product manager from the 3D department. So that's a very good news also regarding that, because when you're going to use, you're going to upload first your stuff, but when customers will go on your website, they will have a great experience loading your file. Now, the biggest issue with 3D files is the size. Size are very big. So the problem with that, it will come to a point that, yes, 3D will be very important part, but now they're still working around to find the best way to get the best experience on the 3D files and the size. So there's a couple of technology that are in place, but still I can see that in a couple of years there might be a replacement for that type of files to make it work properly. Talk about also the Kronos group to work to make this happen. There's a bunch of things like they mentioned, the security, the privacy. One thing that is very cool is now if you have multiple accounts, you will have one account to manage them all. So with a new identity vault. And what else? They were talking about also the numbers of events that they were processing by day. Something like 10 billions of events processed every day, over 10 petabyte, if we can call that petabyte. So I think this is 10,000 terabytes of information, which is totally huge, that are kept safe. What else? API extension. Big investment now on meta fields this year. So if you don't really know how it works, is Shopify has a way to store data. So on other platforms, they have like different terms basically to store data or subset of information. And on Shopify, they call that meta fields. And with these meta field, basically, you will be able to store any type of data that is related to a product. Later on, it will be tied to pages, to blog pages, to anything. So every type of instance will get his own stack of metadata fields where you'll be able to store like all information related to that. Another thing that they say that is very interesting, and it's in terms of the workload of Shopify itself when you're deploying a site and the needs in terms of resources to go forward, is basically if you have less, and that was exactly his example, if you have less than 5 million followers on Instagram, you just don't need to worry. Like, for sure, Shopify is going to be strong enough to just deliver the resource for your store, because they did like a lot of tests with celebrities that have multiple millions, like over 5 million followers. And from there, when that happened, basically, if you reach that, or if you're an agency that is working basically with merchants that have a huge followers, a huge following, the goal here is to prepare that in advance to make it much more easier when you will deploy in production or live the site. And to do this, they recommend at that point to contact their service, because they will help you to strategize on the best way to make that happen, and they will probably allocate much more resources to make this working properly. Quick interesting thing also is the cannabis merchants basically processed on the launch over 100,000 orders in a day, which is totally crazy. It's totally insane. And basically, Shopify had the resource to go through. They showed like some sort of stats in terms of how many a beginner merchant is processing by minutes. A mid type of merchant is processing by minutes. The super high crazy merchants, how many are processing by minutes? And it was like around like 8,000 orders per minute, which is totally insane, again, to have like this capacity of resource to do it. Now, in terms, one thing that is very, very, very interesting, because I've been hearing about that for a while, is a new extension for image. So basically, Shopify is going to support the new extension that called WebP image format, and that will gives or save, if we can say, 30% of the weight of the actual format that you have. So that's a great news, because now with this new format, I think that it has been developed by Google, if I remember. And I remember also at Magento event, a lot of people talking about that, but it was not supported yet. And this is going to help also, again, to run faster. One of the biggest issue that we see with merchant when we do speed analysis, basically to get their side much more performant, and even like on the CRO side, on the conversion rate optimization side, is most of the time their image are way too big, which makes the time, the page load time, very, very, very slow. So that's gonna be getting like that WebP image format is gonna help a lot, because basically we're going to push them to use that, and we can easily see a lift in conversion. Now, there's going to be also a new technology to render liquid file. If you don't know, Shopify use liquid file to render, basically to code. I mean, that's their whole platform to make it easier to code also. It's a very nice way to create your stuff very fast. The logic behind is amazing. I mean, I like it a lot. I'm not a super, how can I say, super advanced coder, but I know how to code, and basically when I use Liquid is way easier than anything else, and I can find right away, you know, what's working, or change stuff in the theme and things like that. So Liquid is already something that I like, I appreciate a lot. And now knowing that they're going to make this technology faster at renders, because what's happening is basically transform that information in a format like HTML format where the browser can read that easily, and it's going to be 7 times faster than what it is. So that's again a game changer, because it's going to increase conversion. It's going to make the customer experience well more appreciable. So that's another great news. So we've seen, one thing that I've seen is like Shopify has been working like crazy to make a huge enhancement in the back end of their system to make things way faster overall. We've seen that in the numbers of API calls, everything related with GraphQL, from all this kind of stuff, like all the little things they are thinking a lot about that, because these, like I was saying probably yesterday, are the foundation of the next big step that is going to happen after that. So everything is really built on performance. Now, one thing that they're going to unveil that is super cool, I think that's super cool, is a new dashboard that is going to show your performance of your Shopify store. Okay, because one thing that is common is like people are comparing Orange with Apple, which doesn't make sense. So they're going on GT Matrix, they're going to Google Speed, and they try to compare their store with, a bunch of other sites that just doesn't make sense, So now what is going to happen is Shopify is going to compare your site against all other Shopify stores. That's a huge thing, because it's going to give you like insight if your store is too slow or not. So that's a good thing here. What else? We have checkout. So I went to a checkout session today. So that was a workshop. I wanted to know more, because when they announced yesterday all the new API stuff that was possible, I mean, that just confirmed that the checkout options are going to be endless at a certain point. So like I was saying, you will be able to integrate, and they showed us like live, how it's going to look when you basically use a subscription app integrated inside the checkout, and how easy it is to use as well. There's going to be also some updates about line item properties. So if you're familiar with that, you will know what that means. There's going to be like new script tags attached to that, the new checkout API for sure for recurring payments. There's going to be a bunch of new app extension. Another thing that I found very, very, very interesting, because that was one of the biggest pain point if you wanted like to create an upsell type of app attached to that, and they confirmed that with this is just the beginning of what you will be able to do. So they call that the card vaulting API, where they're going to store the information of credit card of the user in a very PCI compliant space, which means that each time that there's going to be a new payment that is going to be asked by the system, the user don't need to re-enter their credit card, because that would be basically the fact with non-type of subscription model or thing, or the actual checkout. I mean, basically the actual checkout was not able to do it, so you had to use third-party checkout to create like that kind of option, Then there's the card field SDK. So that's another great thing. So when a credit card number needs to be changed, because that's one thing, and that's another thing why a lot of merchants are getting problems, or it hurts their subscription, is because at a certain point people enter their credit card, but their credit card expires, the same year or 2 years after the subscription. Now they have to reprocess everything or restart everything from scratch, but that will not happen anytime anymore, because with this new thing, basically they can send a form to update their credit card in a very fashionably manner and easy manner with a secure form, so people can just re-enter their stuff there, and it will process for the rest, So that's one thing that will be working there as well. Now, there's another thing also that is available, is called the usage charge or charge fees or fees charge API. Basically, is if you want to charge extra fees at the checkout, you will be able to do it. So sometime merchants want to charge fees for, I don't know, whatever, things that you can think of, because there's going to be, I don't know, like let's say they want to pay the customs for you. So they will charge a fee to cover the customs, or you want to pay the customs in advance. Basically, that's a better example. So you want to get like a standard fee to get your custom token charged by the merchant. So you're going to charge that to the customers, and basically that will cover the customs fee that you will manage with the broker after. That would be like a very simple example there. We talked about the 3D capability. So I went to another workshop after that was much more in depth regarding the 3D capability. So yeah, Shopify is going to be really the first 3D commerce platform to offer native 3D integration. Okay, so what they say is you're gonna see like a lift of 60%, if I remember, much more chance, 2.5x. So that was exactly the number they shared with us, is 2.5 x in terms of conversion that you are gonna get. That's what they experimented with other store compared to product or store that didn't have that. So they've seen like that kind of lift, which is quite crazy because basically most of the time, to get like that kind of 2.5x what you got before, it's a lot of work normally to do it in a conversion optimization rate strategy, So just by having that product that you can get like the feel of it, and you can do a bunch of stuff. I'm pretty sure, there's going to be a couple of videos available very soon on what you can do with this, but totally it's mind-blowing regarding that. All the structure on how you add media inside the product page is changing. So they have a new way of scripting that. So a lot of Teams developer will need to update their teams to be compatible with this new technology, because it's not something that is out of the box, basically. It's things that the team developers need to review the code, add the new tag inside. So when you do the update on your end, you're going to be able to use this new feature. There's also a new thing called a new Google project, which is called Model Viewer, which is like a web component that will help also to back that. It's going to support AR, and this new storefront API will let you to query all these media types also through the API. They have also another API that is a media API, so that's another thing there. Processing states on media, so that I don't remember exactly what it is, but one thing is they're gonna change the plan, the Shopify plan, based on the number of media you're gonna upload now. It's not gonna touch the images, but it's gonna touch basically the videos and the 3D model. So you're going to be limited if you have something like a basic plan to 250 videos or 3D model, or up to 1,000 for the advanced version. And if you are on Shopify Plus, there's probably other, but they didn't disclose that. Each video file will have a 1 minute maximum, so you cannot do anything more than 1 minute. And like I was saying earlier, they're going to use the same CDN as YouTube, same infrastructure. You will be also able to update, to put basically YouTube video player, embedding video player. I think it was already possible. I don't really understand that part, but I think you could already do it, probably in the description and not on the media part. They said also that they were going to count that as a media file. So that's another thing also. I'm not sure if it's 100% accurate, because I find it weird. If you upload the stuff on YouTube, you're just showing that in your image gallery, and they will penalize you in terms of the numbers of media you can upload. That's going to be confirmed for sure. Then you're going to have a special limit as well on 3D models, so up to 15 megs. For sure, they recommend anything below 4 megabytes. And other stuff. What else? There's going to be something that is also very interesting for for app developers and for merchants, because the media editing will now handle apps inside the media editing. Okay, so that might sound complicated, but if you go and you want to edit a video, you will have the option now to edit a video in terms of the lang, but that part is not handled by Shopify. It is handled by third-party apps that Shopify will give access. Okay, so that's something that is quite big, because they encourage now new video editor apps to be inside the Shopify app ecosystem and developers part, and that will be add-on inside that. So we can see probably other stuff coming in by enabling that part. It was probably not 100% clear, but I hope you understand that. Other stuff that was there, I went on the retail part also to see what's going on with their POS. And I can tell you that, first of all, their new POS, the new design, the new workflow, and all this kind of thing, it's going to be very useful for merchants. One thing, like I said, yes, that is game changing is all the apps. So apps developer will be able to build stuff. One thing also I've asked them is their POS is good only for retail and it is good for restoration? They told me that this thing was really not made for restoration. So if you have any restaurants or anything like that, their POS is not made for that, is really for retail. So I would say that completes a lot. That was really what I've seen. I went to other stuff, for where there was a workshop based on how to acquire customers or plus customers and things like that as an agency, type of channels that you should go after. A lot of things that was very interesting, probably less interesting for the audience, but a lot of good insight as well. And at the end, it closed by the keynote by Ashley Clark, Director of Partner, thanking everyone for coming in. And that was basically about it. So I can say that I had the very, very, very good experience going to my first Shopify Unite. First of all is because I met a lot of people, and I always enjoy meeting people live in person, because basically we pass most of our time behind our computers, busy everywhere, and also we're talking with everybody in the world. So it's like a big moment to meet everyone, and that's already, that meant a lot for me to be there. And also I'm super thankful also to all the people I met at the time, to chat with them, took the time to understand their business model, what was going inside, and always great to know everything about that. And on the other side, the event was well organized. I can say that very well organized, very insightful in the workshop. And for me, it's easy to say because I can compare to a bunch of events that I've been in different type of sphere, marketing or even other e-commerce platform. And this one was really, really well made on that part, I can say. So shout out to the Shopify team and Shopify people that organized that. Thank you very much as well for all the attention and the time we spent together. So guys, that was it for day 2. So it was really shorter than day 1. It was much more focused on the workshop. So yeah, that's pretty much it for today. So guys, again, thank you very much for hanging out with Phil. And we're going to have another podcast very soon about, again, digital growth, e-commerce, strategies, and probably a bunch of people that I met as well, because I think they have an amazing story to share on the entrepreneur side. And that will be super beneficial and inspiring. Yeah, we can say that. So until then, have a wonderful day and enjoy. Thanks, guys. Ciao. Ciao.
You've just listened to the Chill with Phil podcast with your host, Phil Kyprianou. Subscribe to our podcast on iTunes or Google Play and catch our next episode.